can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, 'cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, 'cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, 'cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, 'cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years, Raymond Mark
The sickest NHL podcast. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test here in the Sick Podcast Network. He is Pierre McGuire. I am Jimmy Murphy. Pierre, how are you, my friend?
Very well, better than Jimmy Montgomery and the St. Louis Blues and Jordan Binnington. And that was messy.
Yeah. What's going on with him and Binnington? It's getting a little weird there.
I don't know. Last I checked, he's the head coach and the other guy's a goalie.
Yeah.
So usually the head coach has domain.
Yeah, well, it's interesting there. And I couldn't figure out, was Hofer hiding, or is that pre-planned?
No, but in Chicago, because of the way the benches are constructed, usually the backup goalie sits behind the benches.
Okay.
And there's a hallway that goes down in Chicago into the visitors' room. And a lot of times those guys, rather than sit back there, they sit in the dressing room and they watch the game on TV.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't listen, as you know, I'm watching so many games. I don't really listen to the analysts or the play-by-play guys.
Right.
So I don't know what was said or maybe what wasn't said, but I think the more honorable way of doing that would have been to say, hey, this is the reality of what Chicago is and the infrastructure that's there, and sometimes what happens with the goalie. It's like in Montreal. A lot of times the backup goalie doesn't sit on the bench. He sits across the ice.
Yeah.
And he sits right in that little walkway where all the players come out from the visiting team.
Yep.
So
I'm with you on that. Well, yeah, they're in some trouble right now. And it's also, you're going to keep hearing the question marks because of his performance there, Pierre. People are going to start to question why he was brought to Hockey Canada again for the Olympics. I don't know how you can predetermine him as the game one starter in the Olympics at this point.
has that been done? I don't think anybody's done that yet.
The media is trying to, but
please. Here's the big line, the Bowman line.
Yes.
With the media. Okay.
I know it.
You don't need them when you're winning, and they can't help you when you're losing.
Yep. And that's true. And,
so this is a lesson, because you know how many scouts watch and you know how many coaches watch. Just never forget those lines. You don't need them when you're winning, and they can't help you when you're losing.
Yep, I agree.
Pretty simple.
I disagree with those in the media that are saying he should be the anointed starter, but will be interesting to see who starts between the pipes. But let's get to a game that you had your eyes on very closely, and then did a great job talking about after here on the Sick Podcast Network with Tony Marinau and the crew. The Canadiens with a 4-1 win over the Calgary Flames. Look, the Canadiens on paper are a better team. They would be picked as the winner for that game, but you have to play the games, and you're coming back off a road trip. There's always sort of that lull sometimes in the first period there. I thought the Canadiens did a great job of overcoming any of those minefields, so to speak, in your first game back, Pierre.
Well said. Spot on. They brought the A game right from the start. They put their work boots on, and they went right after the defense of the Calgary Flames, and they went right after Dustin Wolf. And Wolf played great in the first period. That thing could have got ugly in a hurry. It really could have got ugly in a hurry. Montreal had 4 lines playing. Joe Veleno has improved tremendously since the start of the year. He deserves a lot of credit. And a Carrier going with Lane Hudson has totally changed Carrier's flight path for this season. He was laboring as a depth defenseman. Now he's playing in the top 4, and he's playing really well, and he and Hudson are a great tandem. They were +3 last night. Lane Hudson's at a totally other level. Amazing how our guest yesterday called that out with Scotty Bowman being on with us.
Yep.
Just amazing. And a great piece of editorial work by you
thank you.
Last night to call our station and to say, hey, this is what Scotty said. Let's get this on there right after Lane scored. Jimmy, that was really good work by you. You were working your tail off. You're paying attention to details, and you're getting stuff done. Nobody else had that.
No, appreciate
all
that.
The people, rights holders, geniuses, all those people, none of them had it. You did.
Scotty Bowman had it, and I wanted to share it right away because Scotty called it, and that goal reminded me instantly of what he said. And if you haven't watched our interview with Scotty yesterday, I highly urge you do. It's really enlightening as always.
He's amazing. He's 92 years old, man.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, like, we're going to have Ryan Warsofsky on here. He's a young coach. He's less than 40 years of age. I know what he's going through. I've been through it myself. One of his assistants was on my team playing for me. Now is his assistant, Dougie Huda. And I'm just going to tell you right now, Scotty Bowman could still coach in the NHL. He couldn't run practices. I can tell you that. He can still coach in the NHL, and he would steamroll a lot of guys. I'm telling you, he would.
Yeah. And what's great is just the grip he has still on the game, the way he's so on top of the pulse of the game right now, the up and coming stars, like we discussed, and we're obviously going to discuss him right now. Macklin Celebrini with him yesterday. Yeah. And he just knows so much about every player.
See this thing? This is a phone, right, Jimmy? This is a phone.
Yep.
It's the worst invention for him because what do you think of this guy? What do you think of and on one more note before Coach Warsofsky comes on.
Yep.
Scotty texted me right after he found out the passing of Glenn Hall.
That's right.
And one of Scotty's favorite players that he ever coached was the legendary Glenn Hall.
Yeah.
And I remember working and coaching with Scotty. We'd be up in Calgary. And back in those days, you used to go out west twice.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't charter. You went commercial, but you'd always go out 2 days before. And I had the honor 2 different times of spending pretty good time with Mr. Hall and Scotty, and to hear the stories about the Plager brothers or Gary Sabrin or Frank St. Marseille or Jean-Guy Talbot. It was unbelievable. You got to remember those St. Louis Blues teams, like people don't remember 3 straight years. They went to the Stanley Cup final.
Yep.
They didn't win.
Yeah.
But they were, because of the way the league set it up, those expansion teams played one another to get in.
Right.
Doug Harvey was playing for the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I never had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Hall, but I've heard nothing but great things. And it's just the records he has, Pierre, are amazing. I don't think we're going to see the game play.
So before we get the coach on, I'm glad you brought that up. Stu Hackle, who's an amazing friend of the show and basically ran NHL television forever and ever and ever before Commissioner Bettman came on the scene. Stu was the right-hand man for John Ziegler for years and years and years. He told me something that was really cool this morning. And he says, yeah, all these people out there are reporting 502 straight starts. He says, that's correct. What they're not telling you is from 1952 to 1961, he never missed a game. Because he was playing in it was called the minors back then, playing in the minor leagues and also in the All-Star games. Now, you don't play the entire All-Star game, but you still playing it. When you do the math, Stu told me it comes out to 881 straight games. So I haven't seen that reported anywhere.
Wow.
This is a guy that really gets it. So 502 straight you can't argue with. But he's adding in playoffs. He's adding in all-star games. He's adding in minor league games. And he was playing without a mask.
That's insane.
Come on.
Oh, my gosh.
He's playing without a mask.
I mean, these guys are machines. It's amazing. Well, listen, as you said, we are having San Jose Sharks head coach Ryan Warsofsky coming on. But before he joins us right now, let's go to last night and Macklin Celebrini doing his magic against the LA Kings.
Celebrini keeps it alive. Macklin, what a move there against Vago. Into the middle. He scores! What a goal by Macklin Celebrini!
I mean, this kid is magic. And, of course, he goes on to assist on the overtime winner there. Hey, Coach, how you doing? Ryan Warsofsky joining us here on the Eye Test. How you been, Coach?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you guys doing?
Great. Good to have you. I mean, does this kid amaze you every game or what?
He sure does. I mean, it feels like he keeps getting better and better as each game goes on. And obviously what he does last night was very, very special. And, he's on a mission since training camp, really. We've seen it throughout the season now that the way he drives and drags our team into the fight, most nights is remarkable. And then you have to look back and remember he's only 19 years old. So we're very grateful that he's on our team and he's helping us win a lot of hockey games here.
Yeah, you're winning a lot of hockey games because you guys are pushing a lot of buttons, and you got some older guys helping you too. That Tyler Toffoli kid, he's not doing so bad for an old guy.
He can score. We know that. So, Toph's, he's been a great addition to our group. Mike brought him in last year, and he's obviously won, Stanley Cup and knows what it takes to win in this league. And he's really helped Macklin and Will, especially last year, come into the league.
Coach, just take us back to when you first got to see Macklin practice, and what struck you the most about him?
The pace that he practices at. He is full speed, full tilt. The competitiveness that he practices with. You wouldn't know if it's a practice or a game. The way he practices is exactly the way he plays in games. He doesn't take a practice off. He's the first guy in line. The first day of training camp, this is year 2 now. First training camp practice at 10:30. He's ready at 10:25 in line, wanted to start practice. So he is a very special individual when it comes to his work ethic. He really competes. The way he practices, you have to kick him off the ice. He's on the ice early. It doesn't matter how many minutes he plays the night before. He is driven to get better every single day. And that's, as a coach is what you can, the most you can ask.
You should have saw him and that Lane Hudson guy at BU practicing the power play. I used to go watch him all the time. It was unbelievable.
I can only imagine. And the way he sees the game now that the game has slowed down for him a little bit, he sees things and that even we'll be watching video, him and I, and he sees, well, I was seeing this play here. And I'm like, well, it takes me back for a second to understand, what exactly he's seeing because he's almost one step ahead of every play.
I got to ask you, Coach, one of the things that I find really cool about your team is you're probably a little ahead of where the expectation was at the start of the year. But the way your guys are managing minutes, the way you're managing games as a coaching staff, I know Brian Wiseman really well. I coach Dougie Huda in the NHL. I love what you guys are doing as a staff in terms of managing games. How much you talk about work to rest ratio and stuff like that, especially with your younger players?
Yeah, really big detail that we've talked about a lot, especially with the young players and even some of our older guys that, the Nick Lettys, Nick Klingbergs that have got some, miles on them. So you have to take care of it. Talking to coaches around the league with the schedule demands right now and how much you practice and how many times you're to have an optional skate. Do you want a morning skate? The way you travel, it's something that I've learned in my short, career here in the National Hockey League as a head coach. How to manage the schedule has been a big key for us. And then obviously we have to hold some of our young guys back a little bit, the Macklins, the Will Smiths, the William Mecklins, because they want to go. They don't know any better. They want to get on the ice. They want to get going. They want to work. And sometimes, taking a day off the ice and having more of a recovery day is more beneficial. So we've learned, through our sports performance staff and having a great staff that I have here with those guys there, Hoods and Wise and Jeff Ulmer, that really have seen it all. So I got a great staff around me to help with those decisions and make those, decisions a little bit more easier on myself and the team.
Hey, Jimmy, just before you get going, I want to praise the entire staff because I watch all their games. And you can see they're fresh. They're not going to win every game because you got a lot of young guys, and they got some older guys that are nicked up right now. Coach knows what I'm talking about. But the thing that blows me away about their group in particular is that they all push one another in a good way. Like I'm watching Adam Gaudette. He scores a huge goal last night. Kid from Northeastern, won the Hobie Baker. He's not going to be in their top 6. And, Coach, the way you guys have managed a player like that says a lot about your staff. Yeah. That, to me, as a guy that worked in the league now for 37 years, that really impresses me. You guys should be really proud of what you're doing.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate it. And I think, our guys are, playing for one another. And I think we have something special going on in that dressing room as far as, our fourth line has been really consistent with Gaudreau, Ostapchuk, and Ryan Reaves. And they didn't have the greatest night last night. But if you watch, there's a video of them celebrating that overtime goal. You would have thought Barclay Goodrow had a hat trick and 2 assists in a fight, and was a big part of it. He knew he struggled, but guys pick each other up. Guys play for one another. We want to win hockey games and keep this thing going, but it's a special group. Guys are just fitting into their roles. No one complains. There's no egos, and we're having fun doing it.
Coach, you look back to the beginning of the season in October when you guys went through that 6-game losing streak, and thankfully you didn't have to sell any of your kids. I'm glad that didn't happen. But, what did the team take from that in the moment, and how did you build off that when you came out of that? What did you see in terms of resilience from the team after that?
The comment you're saying?
No, not your comment. Not the comment. I was just joking you there, but no, I'm just saying the fact that you go through that so early in the season, and then the season turned into what it has turned into. Do you look back on that and say, I'm really impressed with the way they came out of that and learned from that experience?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And look, even when had lost, we went 0-4-2, we were still playing some pretty good hockey. We were just finding ways
Right.
to lose games. I mean, the fluke game against Vegas in game 1, we were up against Anaheim in game 2. We got, went into Utah with a tough team and a high paced game, but we probably weren't expecting early on. We got down early, but we went out east. We got on the road, and I think it's sometimes the best thing for a hockey team is just to get away from the distractions, be together. We had a lot of new players come into the organization this summer, and it takes time. It takes time to build chemistry, get to know one another. So I think the best thing for us was getting on the road. We play a really good game against the Islanders. We lose a game, and then you think all of a sudden the world's coming to an end. And that's, I think, where our veteran guys really stepped up. I think Ryan Reaves has probably been one of our most important additions. The way he brings energy to our group, the way he knows how to play the game. Not like he has impressed me the way he plays and the structure that he plays with. And he's accountable. He really has really dragged guys as well as Mac into the fight. And, he's a special man. We're so lucky to have him on our team, regardless of what he does when he drops the gloves. I think he's really helped to give our team an identity, especially with our fourth line. So we've really leaned on the veteran guys to get through that. And they did a really good job of kept pushing and find more desperation to get the first one. And I think that took the weight off of our shoulders a little bit.
When you stand there on the bench and you see Revo out there and he's fighting Matthew Olivier, and you see how ferocious a physical contact sport hockey can really be, how vicious it can be, what are you thinking as a head coach?
Yeah, like obviously Revo's as tough as they come, right? And he's not going to shy away from it. He wanted to answer the bell after they scored, and obviously when he went down, my heart sank a little bit. But obviously seeing him in between periods, knowing he was going to be okay, I think honestly when he came out, he was a little late, because he was in protocol there. He came out, the building went nuts, and our team went off it and built off it and got energy from it. So he's like the big dad in our room that everyone looks up to, and he's a protector. And for our young guys, I think that's important to see that, because there is a human element that these players go through. There's you get worried about, we had Ty Delandry go down. We lost some guys and one of your brothers, and we got picked up big time when he came back on that ice. And that line was probably our best line in that third period the other night against Columbus.
Jimmy, that's the part that people don't talk about enough. That's why I asked Coach that. I mean, I had some pretty tough players that I coached, Jay Caulfield and Troy Loney and a guy named Jimmy McKenzie and the late Mark Potvin. We had Mark Jansen, some really tough cats, Jimmy Agnew. And, I wasn't afraid to deploy them. But when you do that as a human, as a coach, if you don't have their back afterwards, and you're in trouble. Your answer was so good, Coach. Really well done. Really good.
Thank you.
Coach, what's it been like working with Mike Grier? And I guess if you can take us back to off season, was one of the focuses kind of sprinkling in you referenced the veteran guys that have come in, just kind of surrounding and giving sort of a blanket to the younger guys?
Yeah, a lot of conversations, even throughout last year, knowing where we were trending, getting obviously Will playing and Mac playing. We wanted to put some players around them. We wanted to, kind of change over our back end, bring in Orlov and Klingberg that can help out on our power play. Those two guys in particular really help. Nick Leddy, a guy that's been around, that have won a lot of hockey games, have played in the playoffs, good veteran human beings first that can help our locker room. But Orlov's been another good addition for us, as far as just stabilizing our back end just a little bit, get our pucks to forwards a little bit more often, and knowing how to play the position. I think that's a difficult thing, as Pierre would know. I mean, learning the defense at a young age, it's extremely difficult. And there's going to be tough nights when you go up against some top teams and top lines, and you're playing more minutes than you're probably accustomed to. So that's why we wanted to protect Sam Dickinson and some of our young defensemen, to have an understanding what it takes to play at this level each and every night. You can't get caught taking a breath. You can't take a night off, or you'll get your head caved in at the end of the day. So Mike did a really good job of adding those pieces to our back end, especially to kind of help ease the minutes for our young defensemen.
Hey, Jimmy, just to build off what Coach said, think about Nick Leddy for 1 second when they were winning cups in Chicago. He's playing in the third pair. He has Duncan Keith and Johnny Oduya ahead of him. It's the best left skating defense in the National Hockey League. So here's a guy that's now been through the miles and the wars, and he's teaching those young guys, especially Dickinson, how to play. Mock Medulin, I know he's hurt right now, but another guy that that's really important. So, I love what, Coach, you're nailing it all. I mean, too many easy questions. So I'm going to ask you about the World. So I'm going to go to the World Junior in 2010. Your brother's on the team. John Carlson with the golden goal.
Yeah.
I'm calling it, and there's a family like to my left in the press box. And it's the Warsofskys from Boston.
Yeah.
Your brother David was on it. For everybody that doesn't know, Ryan's brother David was on the team, and it was a great U.S. team coached by Dean Blaze. Do you have any memories of that?
I do. I was at Sacred Heart University, and the whole team was watching it. A lot of Canadians, so it was a Canadian-U.S. Hockey team, so we were watching it. Obviously in Saskatoon, and what a game, and obviously a special team that they had with John Carlson and I think Paul Mary, Jeremy Moore, and Ryan Bork on that team. So still talk to a lot of those guys, and obviously that was probably like the one that kind of got USA Hockey going in a sense. I know they won one before that, but USA Hockey has won a lot of World Juniors and now obviously World Championships, and USA Hockey's kind of been put back on the map here a little bit.
Hey, Jimmy, he's not even going to toot his own horn, so I'll do it for him. He's a head coach of a World Championship team last year over in Sweden. Yep. They beat Switzerland 1-0, and the guy that gets the golden goals, Tage Thompson, and there's the head coach. He won't even talk about it.
I didn't score any goals.
That was great. I was watching it all. It was really well done. That's great.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Great group of guys. Again, it was a great group. Guys put their egos at the door and checked them and said, you know what, whatever it takes to end the drought of 92 years. And I think obviously Tage scores a big goal, but Clayton Keller played great hockey for us. Jackson Lacombe, Brady Shea, Zach Werenski, really good young players. Shane Pinto, so much appreciation for him as a player. Again, I can go that whole list of guys. Connor Garland. What a great group of guys. Jeff Kelty did a great job putting that team together. And
all the math guys. He's sucking up to all the math guys. Come on.
Nothing wrong with that. That one right here. Coach, just quickly before we let you go, how did you get into coaching? What made you want to do the behind the bench series?
Yeah, well, I've kind of told the story a few times. Mike Sullivan's parents are my godparents, and Sully was coaching the Bruins and Providence Bruins, and I was in high school. And when I was down at Providence, when he first started coaching that first year, and then he went up to Boston and went in there a little bit. Ray Bork was my coach in prep school, so he was helping
Cushing
out with
Academy.
Boston.
Give him a shout out to Cushing Penguins
Academy. And then so I would kind of go in morning skates, and I'd pick Mike's brain a little bit, and I'll never forget it. I said, Mike, I think I want to be a hockey coach, and he's like, over my dead body. Not a chance. The stress that goes with it. He would talk me out of it for years, even when I started in the East Coast League, and I'd tell him how much money I'm making him. He's like, you need to what are you doing? Stop. Like, he obviously got fired in Boston and then bounced around. And obviously his road was tough as well. Went to the Chicago Blackhawks player development, obviously he was with Torts. So, he was a big influence on my career. And then I've gotten really fortunate to work for some really good coaches. Spencer Carberry, learned a lot from him for 3 years. Mike Vellucci, some really good coaches that I've been around. David Quinn, what a great man, a great coach. So I've been very fortunate to be around some really great coaches and support people around me that have helped me along the way. And you got to get a little luck at times. And I've probably been lucky in some jobs that I've gotten. But I'm grateful and humbled to be a head coach of the National Hockey League. That there's not a day goes by that I don't feel grateful to be especially with San Jose Sharks and this organization. And so I'm very fortunate.
All those young guys out there, listen to Coach Warsofsky. You got to have mentors, and you got to have people that are going to look after you, and you got to keep your ears and eyes open. If you don't, you're not going to make it, and if you do, you will make it. That's really well said, Coach. I love what you just said. I hope your brother David's enjoying his time in the East Coast Hockey League in South Carolina in Charleston. One of the kids that I trained, Johnny Fusco, is playing for him right now. He's hurt, but so there you go.
I just talked to him this morning. He's GM and coach, trying to make trades, trying to figure out his way. It's flipped a little bit. He was in the NHL taking the private planes, and I was on the bus, and now he's back on the bus, and I'm on the charters.
No, I did a lot of his games when he was playing in the NHL. He was a really good player. Jimmy, he's a BU guy. Like, it's amazing. There are too many BU guys involved in this whole thing. There's too many.
Yeah, there's a lot of you guys, that's for sure.
Many of them. I just don't get. I don't get the Celebrini thing. Like, how does he end up in San Jose?
It's incredible, isn't it?
There you go. There you go. Coach, before we let you go, too, congratulations to Mike Aldrich. You pass that along to him.
I will. He's the best.
2,500 games for him.
Well, yeah, he's awesome.
Equipment managers, we love them here because they're so around the league. Fans don't know about them. They don't know what they do. It's amazing.
Funny story. We were on the Father's trip and we just got back, and my
That's
dad.
Right. Yeah.
We got back late last night at like 1:30 in the morning, and I'm like, Dad, you don't realize this, but the guy back there, Mike Aldrich, he's passed out sleeping. The plane lands. He's got to go on, and the two other guys got to go undo the equipment and air out the gear and bring the skates back to the different building. I mean, they still get another hour and a half, 2 hours worth of work. That's a tough job. Those guys, they do a hell of a job with our team, and it kind of goes unnoticed for sure.
So I'll give you a good Aldi story. I'm doing a game in San Jose between the benches, and coach knows there's no position there, so you're kind of on the San Jose bench. So my IFB got hit with a stick, and it broke off in my ear. I'm not kidding you. Whoa. So I couldn't hear the truck because the line broke off, but it's stuck in my eardrum. So I look at Aldi and I push the talk back button so nobody on TV can hear me. And I say, hey, Aldi, I got a problem. Like, I got a thing in my ear. He looks, he goes, holy mackerel. He didn't say that. He said something else. Yeah. So I called the truck and I said, look, I'm going to leave this position for like 3 minutes. This guy's going to get this thing ripped out of my ear. And so Aldi's got the tweezers and he's pulling it.
He's the best.
That's great.
He's such an amazing man.
Yeah.
I've known him a long time. You're very fortunate to work with such a good pro, and I know everybody out there is really professional. Do me a favor. Please give Dougie Huda my best. Tell him I got him out of a big problem. I saved a lot of money for him once. He'll know what I'm talking about. And then you tell Brian Wiseman he broke my heart when he didn't come to St. Lawrence and he went. He
just told me the story this morning when I told him I was going to meet you guys.
I love, you know what? And I can't
Ontario legend.
I can't fake it. I love Brian Wiseman. I wish he was my kid. I love him to death. Bro.
Tell Mike Grier, his former St. Sibs classmate, says hello too.
Okay, I will.
Thanks, Coach. Really good talking to you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. All right. Have a good one.
Appreciate it. Thanks. You too.
All right. Ryan Warsofsky joining us here on the eye test. It's great what they're doing right now, Pierre. I think arguably you could say maybe Chicago or them are the most fun team to watch right now in the NHL.
Montreal, there's a group of them.
Yes, that's a good
Montreal's in there, San Jose's in there, Chicago's in there. I would say Tampa. I'd say Tampa for fun is in there. Tampa's
what they're doing right now.
Tampa's fun to watch. And I'm going to throw one more at you. The New York Islanders.
Ooh, I like.
The New York Islanders, as much as we rave about Lane Hudson and as much as we want to rave about Macklin Celebrini, I want to rave about Matthew Schaefer.
Yes. And I think we need to get
start going around and looking at all these guys. Like I'm telling you.
Yeah. Yep.
They're good.
I'll tell you something.
The Islanders are fun. The Islanders are fun. They got to keep it on the rails here. They just can't get any guys hurt. They got to just keep it going there.
I think too, if you look at, let's put Montreal aside, but let's keep the Islanders, Blackhawks, and Sharks, right? The young teams right there. Well, no, Montreal's the youngest actually, technically, but you look at them, there's a common theme, Pierre, and I remember you saying it a couple of years back when we started this podcast, and I think we were specifically talking about the Sharks at the time, how important it is to insulate these young kids with the proper veterans. And we just heard Coach talk about that and what right? And you look at the steps since each of these teams have taken those steps to add those guys, you look at the jumps they've made, and it's so true. I mean, you can have all the young talent in the world, but if you don't have guys around them to kind of guide them, and as you say, keep them on the rails, it's all for naught.
I love how he talked about the guys that mentored him. We're talking about Coach Warsofsky now. And I think because he's done that, he's been mentored and he appreciates it. He probably, with Mike Grier, had some long talks about what types of players do we need here to help us grow our brand. And the first year they were there, it wasn't happening. Like there was they got pounded.
Yep.
And you could see Celebrini was going to be really good. And you could see Eklund was going to be really good. And you could see, I don't know, for the sake of argument, Liljegren was going to be really good. But like there was some stuff going on there where you're like starting to wonder. But man, oh man, I give them full marks. And I wasn't making it up. with Huda, who's a veteran coach, and Wiseman, who's learned from Red Berenson, and Dave Tippett, who he played for, so many great coaches that he worked with. Now you got older guys on the bench too that can help him and help the players. I think it's really, and he talked about Jeff Ulmer, who I've known for a long time. Jeff Ulmer's a good hockey guy too. So you put it together, they got a good thing going on in San Jose. They are a legitimate candidate to be in the playoffs. They are. A lot of it's going to be how they hold up with the young guys in terms of, that's why I asked him that question right away.
Yeah.
Because Daryl Sutter told me a long time ago, and when he left Chicago, people forget this. When he left Chicago, the first job he took was San Jose. Well, being in Chicago and coaching in the league is a lot different than being in San Jose and coaching in the league.
Right.
And Daryl told me, he says, the hardest part about being on the West Coast, he said, practices. You can't practice a lot. And it's hard on your players. The travel kills your guys. So until you figure that out, you got a problem. Yeah. Well, that's why you got a guy like Huda. That's why you got a guy like Wiseman. Wiseman coached in Edmonton. You got a guy like Huda who's, been in the league forever, started in Detroit as a player, and he's an Alberta guy to begin with. So I like what they're doing in San Jose, and hats off to Mike Grier, obviously, and to the entire management group. I know that Dougie Waite's there and Vanek's there, Thomas Vanek's there, and Joey Thornton's there, and Patrick Marlowe. They got a lot of former alumni there, but I think they're doing a lot of good stuff. I'm really impressed.
You always say how important it is to have Stanley Cup rings around. Doug Huda's got one of them from the Boston Bruins in 2011.
Yeah, what a staff that was with Claude Julien and Dougie Jarvis. What a staff. Oh, what a staff that was.
That was great.
Back in those days, I spent so much time with those guys.
That team had structure.
Did they ever? They had structure. Did they
All right, good stuff. All right, let's get to our sponsors here and my picks, and then we'll get right to your questions here because I hear them lining up, and we want to get as many as we can in. All right, we always tell you about Vago right now. We're really excited that they're part of the iTest family because they combine old world classics and new Italian dishes for over 23 years. Private dining rooms for any occasion. Open Monday to Saturday evenings and lunch from Tuesday to Friday. They are located at 1336 Green Avenue in Westmount. For reservations, call 514-846-1414. Again, that's 514-846-1414. And then our wonderful sponsors, a Betway, where you can still go all the way with Betway and bet those beauties. We've still got that deal going for new members, so go right there to the QR code in front of you if you're watching, or if you're not, go to the members section on the website, fill out the details there, and get your new membership where you can get up to $300 back on your first deposit. Again, that's $300 back on your first deposit, even if you lose your first bet. You get some credit back. You can't beat that. You must be 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. Always bet responsibly, and this offer is not available in Ontario. Let's get to my picks. All right, we're going to go right to Montreal, where we were focused on last night. I think the Canadiens keep it rolling. The Panthers are banged up right now. No Brad Marchand in the lineup. I like the Canadiens on what's called the reverse puck line. They're the underdog. So if you wanted to make that, say that they're going to win by 2 goals or more, you got to do what's called the reverse puck line and get them at -1.5, and you get great value. That's plus 210 value. So the Habs on the reverse puck line. The Sabres are at MSG to take on the Rangers who really need a win. And the Sabres.
That's a huge game.
This is a huge game, Pierre. Really big game.
Huge game.
And that's why I like overtime. Bring me to the draw there at plus 310 value. I think this is going to be a great game. Huge in the standings, huge in terms for confidence of both teams right now.
Let me ask you this. We'll do it both ways.
Yep.
If Buffalo loses, it's really no skin off their back. They've really reeled the thing in. They've won 10 of their last 11. They've reeled it in. But if the Rangers lose,
then
does it start to become open season and they start moving players?
It's going to be very interesting to see what they do. Like what do you do now with Shesterkin out? You don't know how long he's going to be out, Pierre. You don't like.
Well, Adam Fox is out too.
Fox is out. I mean, I was hearing recently they were looking to add, but now all that changes because of those injuries and the way the team's going. these next few games are going to determine the Rangers season.
I think tonight's a huge, this is
Yeah.
as big a game as they've played all year. I'm telling
I'll tell you what, though, they got
Rangers.
the right goalie to come in and relieve for Shesterkin if they're going to.
Quickie?
Oh yeah, Quickie.
He's
Best backups in the league right now.
he's
Man.
old school and he's tough as nails.
Yep.
He's you know
I think
what?
that's
He's the Brian Trottier thing where you're going to have to cut my legs off because I'm not stopping until you tell me.
that could be a good one there. And then I'm going to go to Pittsburgh, another team that definitely needs a win, Pierre. The New Jersey Devils are in Pittsburgh to take on the Penguins, who've won 5 straight. Now, I don't know if they're going to win. I don't know what's going to happen with the Devils. It's a big game, obviously, for them, a gut check game. What I do think is after a 9-0 shellacking, they're going to tighten things up. And the Penguins have been playing better defensively, too. The 6.5 over under, I like the under there. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game than most people think. So give me the under there. And then the final one, I like the Leafs to go into Philly and face a hot Philly team right now. But I like them to come away with the win at plus 100. I think that's going to be another game there. I think it's great games all around the board tonight.
You're going all over the map.
I am. All right, let's rock and roll and go all over the map with our questions from our amazing viewers here. What do we got first? Simo, okay, Pierre from Elijah. Do you think Macklin has a chance to be as good as Crosby? I hope you and Jimmy had a great Christmas and Happy New Year. Thanks. We did, Elijah. You too.
I don't know if he has a chance to be as good as Crosby, but I do think he's got a chance to be as good or better than Jonathan Toews. I think he's Jonathan Toews with a little bit more offense. And to me, Johnny's one of the best players we've had in the league in the last 30 years. So that's a really good player. Crosby's at a whole other level. If he can be as good as Crosby, that'd be amazing. But I think he can be as good or better than Jonathan Toews. And I say that with huge humility and respect for Johnny. Jimmy knows how much I worship at the altar of Brian Trottier, and I see Jonathan Toews very much the same. Very much the same.
And John, speaking of Jonathan Toews, as Pierre and I have been discussing on here and off air, going to be interesting to follow that situation as it goes on here with Winnipeg if he ends up with another club by the deadline. All right, next question. Renaissance Resistor. Who is more likely trade candidate, Doc or Bolduc? Doc for sure. All right, next question. Fufa Fo Fum. Hello, guys. I have seen Demidov break his stick at least 4 times in the last 3 games. These sticks, man. Are players forced to continue playing with the same brand of stick, or can they change mid-season?
They can change whatever they want. That's all part of it. But
I was change back to wood.
Usually they get paid by a company to use a certain stick. So they like to get paid that extra money, so they don't usually change very often. I have a good story for you on that.
Okay.
So one of the greatest players in the history of the NHL is very friendly with certain golfers. And one of those golfers happened to win the Masters.
Ooh.
And the golfer says, I just got offered a whack of money to change my clubs. And the pro hockey player said to him, how dumb are you? Why would you do that? You just won the Masters. That makes no sense. And the guy goes, yeah, but look at the money they're going to offer me. And he goes, I've used the same hockey stick since I was a little boy, and it doesn't matter. I'm keeping that stick. I'm not changing. They could offer me any kind of money they want. And sure enough, that golfer changed his clubs, and he was never the same player.
Wow.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, it was a great scene. I don't know if you saw it, Pierre, the other day when Matthews, all the Toronto legends were there, and they presented him with a blue stick and signed and everything, and it was a wood stick. And he's just like, what is this? Matthew's looking at it like, what the heck is this? He goes, I think it was Sundin. He goes, that's a real stick there, buddy. They don't break as much. So it was great.
Yeah, they were a lot cheaper too. The stick budgets went up. People don't realize this. Like the stick budgets, when I was working in the league on an everyday basis, depending on, how many guys and whether you counted the American League sticks or not, but probably between 200 and 250,000 was your stick budget. Now you're well over 2 million.
It's insane.
Or you're well over 2 million.
We were talking to Pierre the other day. What does Canada have to do to get better at hockey and win it? How about making things a little cheaper? I know they don't control that, but it's so expensive to play the game now.
You know what I would do, and I know people don't want to hear this in North America, I would study the Swedish system. I would.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are playing in Sweden, all kinds of kids. I go over there a lot, do a lot of work for elite prospects. Love it. It's an amazing hockey country. It's a great country, period. It really is. I don't agree with everything that they do socially and all that stuff. That's their own business. But I'm telling you, if you're an older person, you appreciate living in Sweden. And if you're a young athlete, you appreciate living in Sweden because they want you playing. They want
Make
you
sure it's
doing stuff.
affordable.
They encourage you to do this.
Yeah.
And it's so much better. The system's just way better.
Well, I hope they do it here. All right, next question. Franco, how will the Habs 2022 draft be remembered? They picked Slafkovsky, Masar, Beck, Hudson, Rohrer, Engstrom, and Davidson. I think it was a pretty good draft, if you ask me, Pierre.
Oh, it's a really good draft. But some of us said that at the time. You know, I remember having meetings with our scouts in Ottawa about Vincenzo Rohrer, who's, you know, an Austrian kid. He was playing for the Ottawa 67s. I used to go down there all the time to watch him play and be like, we might be able to steal this guy in the 3rd or 4th round. It'd be huge. And I had actually people within our staff saying, oh, we're not sure about this guy. And I was like, okay. I'm not sure about your evaluation talents.
All right, next question. Dad's Habs. Hey, Jimmy and Pierre, question. With no Jones and Marshy, what are the keys to victory tonight for the Habs? Thanks as always, guys. It's always appreciated. Go Habs, go.
I think continue what you did last night and really be aggressive on the forecheck. Force Florida to take a dose of their own medicine. Usually they force the pace. They put it behind your defense. They crush your defense with physicality. They turn every shift into a street fight. If Montreal plays the same way as they did last night against Calgary, pucks in deep, no turnovers in the neutral zone, push the pace of the game, Florida will get uncomfortable and Montreal will win the game. But if they don't and they allow Florida to get into their rhythm, it'll be a hard night for Montreal.
All right, next question. David Robinson. Pierre, who is the best locker room guy you coached? The guy who, even if he was struggling, he could just lift other players up to perform at their best, as much like what he was just talking about, Ryan Reaves.
Yeah, there's so many. I don't want to shortchange anybody, but one guy that really stood out with Brian Trottier. Brian really stood out. Joey Mullen stood out. Kevin Stevens stood out in Pittsburgh. Well, Ulfie was really good. Ulfie Samuelson. Just so many, but Brian and Kevin and Joey really stood out to me for being guys like that.
All right, next question. Juice. Pierre, how in trouble are the Ottawa Senators?
They lose tonight, they're in huge trouble. Their schedule's unforgiving because they played the other night on home ice. They lost. They got right on a plane. They flew out to Utah. They lost in Utah last night. I watched the game. And then they flew right after the game into Colorado. They play in Colorado tonight. Colorado hasn't played since Monday, where they lost to Tampa. And then, Jimmy, they have to fly back and play Florida. That will be rested after playing the night. And they play Florida on Saturday night in Ottawa. They're in trouble if they lose tonight. It breaks my heart, man. They're a much better team than what their record is. Oh, boy. They're in big trouble if they lose tonight.
All right, next question. Ian Scott Lewis, great show. Question. I really noticed when Anderson is out of the lineup, it leaves me wondering about his future in Montreal, especially looking at the playoffs. Thoughts on his value going forward, stay or trade?
What an awesome question. Not enough people are talking about Josh Anderson. I talked about it with Tony and Max Lapierre last night and Brian Wild. He's got significant value. He's really important. He's important on the penalty kill. He's important 5-on-5. He's important physically. And he's one of those guys, like against Florida, they know he's squirrely. They're not going to mess around with him.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so there's not enough of that with Montreal. So his value is pretty high. And I think upper management knows it. It's just going to come down to a price point situation, a lot like what happened with, I think, what they did with Matheson. I think what they did with Matheson was really smart and good for Mike for agreeing to do it. And I think maybe they could do something like that with Josh long-term.
All right, next question. B Right 33, Jimmy and Pierre. Marty St. Louis had his pregame presser, and no changes to the forwards lineups. Monty and goal tonight. No Gooley. Thoughts?
Yeah, no Gooley for a little bit. I totally understand that.
Though.
Here's the biggest thing that from last night that allows them to do that. They weren't stressed. So if you look at the forwards, nobody played over 20 minutes. And he really managed the minutes in the last 15 minutes of the third period. And then if you look at the defense, there were only two that played 20 or more minutes, Hudson and Matheson. Everybody else was below 20 minutes. So they're fine with that. I don't have an issue. That's not going to be a problem for them.
All right, next question. Anthony, Montreal. With the constant talks about prospects like Hage and Reinbacher, what about guys like Florian and Thorpe? Those two on the fourth line in the playoffs will be a force on the forecheck. Thoughts on
What a
that?
great point by Anthony. Really smart. That's a great hockey take by Anthony. Completely agree. I still am going to stick with what I've been saying since the start of the year. I thought Florian Jack I should have made the team.
Yep, I'm with you, Pierre. All right, next question. Gerbs 76 PK asked about Blake Coleman last night, and you said he would be a great fit on any team. Pierre LeBrun is reporting he's a trade target for the Habs. What would be the cost?
That's a good one. I'm going to say that they want a prospect and a pick.
Yep.
I don't think they want any money going back. So I think they'll want a prospect and a pick.
Which
probably closer to a first than a third, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
But depends on the level of the prospect. I'm a huge Blake Coleman guy. My late great dear friend Ray Sherrill just thought the world of Blake Coleman, and
right.
I got a chance to spend some time with him because of Ray, and especially around their team when I would go and speak to the coaches or speak to the players. So Blake's a winner. Blake's a big time winner. He brings Stanley Cup street cred to your team. Yep. He really does.
They won't be the only ones trying to get him. All right, next question. Simo, Pierre,
your thoughts? 2 goals last night. 2 goals.
Louis Grier has been for the Hawks this year. 7th rounder. Patty Roy must be proud. And thank you guys for being the best pot around. Appreciate what you do for the game. Thank you, Simo.
That's really nice. It means a lot. Louis was shooting the puck last night against Bennington. That was good. It's good. I like it when you guys that are late picks or free agents make it. I think the world of that. So Crevier we've talked about a lot on the show, I think, Jimmy. They're a big mobile defense. Vlasic's a big guy. Lev Shunov's a big guy. Crevier's a huge guy. They're just continually getting better there. I like that, they've got guys that are really starting to come together on the back end there in Chicago. It's great.
All right, next question. Franco, from yesterday, how does Gavin McKenna, who's 17, play for Penn State when his age would not normally make him eligible to attend?
That's not true.
Do they have to be of age and educational level to attend the play?
No. They just have to be admitted, but that's not true at all. They're kids that are 16 years old in college.
Yeah.
It just depends on how well you're doing in school. But that's not true. I remember, I think Craig Simpson, who does the games on Hockey Night in Canada, when he went to Michigan State, he grew up in London. He played for the late Ronnie Mason. I think Craig might have been 16, turning 17 when he went to Michigan State. That's fine. Gavin McKenna's not an issue.
All right, next question. David Robinson, for Jimmy, your favorite shutdown defenseman when you were young? Ooh, that's a good question there, Dave. I'm trying to think.
You were young?
I was at one point. Ooh, I'm thinking back. That's a good one. Got me on the spot there. You know who I liked, and I don't know, Pierre, if you would consider him that, but I'm thinking, and you played against this team. You guys swept them in the playoffs, the 92 Bruins, when Gord Murphy was playing for them.
Gordo was a good defenseman. He started with Philadelphia. He's an Ottawa 67 guy, but he was a Philadelphia Flyer. His son Connor plays for Chicago right now.
Wasn't just give his name.
But Gordo was good. Good.
I liked him. Alan Peterson, I remember.
I had Beach. Beach played for me in Hartford.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Yeah, he brought Beach down there. That's his nickname because he was white like the sand. He was Beach. I really liked Alan a lot. He was a great partner for Raymond Bork. Alan.
Yeah,
he was a great
I remember that
partner. Yeah.
Stuff.
So my favorite shutdown guy, I don't know, over time, Larry Robinson.
Yeah, Larry Robinson for
sure.
Look
at his career plus minus. Nobody's even close. It's over 700.
Yep. Wow.
It's unbelievable.
All right, next question. Jerb 76 PK again. How does someone like Connor Murphy, pending UFA, play nearly to 800 games and is hardly known in the NHL? He's 6'4", 212 pounds, a right shot D. Do you see a fit in Montreal and pairing him with Gooley?
So what happens with a player like Connor, unfortunately, he started in Columbus when they weren't very good. He goes to Chicago when they're not good, and he just gets lost in no man's land. It's really unfortunate. Sometimes that happens to players, sometimes it does. Yeah, that would be great because he can skate. He's big. He scored last night. He doesn't usually score very much. I like him too. You know what? I like him a lot. So as a person, would it be a fit? Yeah, it would absolutely be a fit. But I don't know if Montreal is going to do that or not.
I think they're looking more for up front, Pierre. Don't you?
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Yeah. All right. What do we got for the next question? Pierre, thoughts on Anaheim Ducks losing 7 in a row?
But they haven't lost 7 in a row. I think they've lost 4 in a row.
Yeah, they mixed a win in there, but it has not been. The last 11 games have been.
Yeah, no, but they've lost 4 in a row. Yeah, no, not good. Joel must be upset. But this, you know what? I was talking to somebody today. It's a good point by this person. I never came up with it. Somebody gave it to me. It's a time of the year because of the condensed schedule where a lot of the young guys, this is basically as long as their seasons have been.
Mm-hmm.
Like a kid like Ian Moore that played at Harvard, he might have played 32 games a season. Yeah. You know, he's already at 40. He's hit the wall. He's like, what the heck? I think I told you the story last year. I think my son played 12 or 14 games in the minors. Then they went in the playoffs and they played in a 7-game series and they lost. And he came and visited his mother and I. And he said, Dad, you warned me about this. I was like, what? And he says, my body's just crying. He says, I can't believe I'd have to go 2 more rounds or 3 more rounds. I would have done it, but I don't know what I would have had left. Yeah. So till you go through it, you don't know it. If you were to ask most of those Canadian kids that played against Washington last year, they'd probably tell you like, holy moly, this is crazy stuff. I had no idea it was this hard.
Yeah, it's amazing. And by the way, too, yes, Connor Murphy is Gord's son. So it's funny they brought up that question. All right, next question. Luke Bailey, 3653. I love the show, guys. Thank you, Luke. What do you do about the lack of scoring in Winnipeg? Would you try some young guys in the Moose or look external? We are both to the belief, Pierre, right? They're probably going to be selling soon.
Yeah,
I think that's
that breaks. This is one of those. It's hard. Jimmy and I think so highly of the ownership there. Yeah. And, oh man, this is so hard.
It's not one of those things too, where it's like you've had a lot of guys underachieve, Pierre. I think it's just been it's just a bad year.
It's just where they go from winning the President's Trophy last year to this.
Yeah, it's a Murphy's Law type
year. One of those things where it's forget it, move on.
Yeah.
The one guy that I know everybody talks about this guy or that guy. Shifley's not getting traded. Kyle Connor's not getting traded. Gabe Velarde's not getting traded. Josh Morrissey's not getting traded. And Adam Lowry's not getting traded. Right. And Hellebuck's not getting traded. So you still got your core.
Yep.
But now you got to figure out who's going to join the core. Like you got to figure, like you made a good point today. What do they do with Cole Perfetti?
All right. That's going to be an interesting one. All right. Next question. What do we got? Dad's Habs, Pierre, last night with Tony and Max. Maxie suggested putting Andy and Newhook with Deneau in the middle. If that would happen, who would be on your 4th line?
Well, Evans would be in center. And then you got to figure it out. Maybe it's Josh Anderson and Gallagher. I don't know, but that's one of those where you got to see how many young guys are progressing. What's Owen Beck doing? But I think the Canes are so set up to be so good for so long. I told this to Jimmy. I think I said it on the air too. The next 5 to 8 years, the window's wide open. It's wide open for them, for Montreal. It's wide open.
All right, next question. What do we got? Ian Scott Lewis, Jimmy and Pierre, is Fowler better playing lots of games back in Laval, or should they move someone to keep him up with the big club, assuming the 3-goalie monster is not a long-term plan? I don't
keep him playing in the NHL as long as you can, but don't. If he's missing like 6 or 7 days of playing, go back. He's got to play a lot, and you see him; he's unflappable. He's, Jimmy. I try to warn everybody. Try to warn them. This guy's the real deal. He's not fake. He's the real deal.
He's so calm. All right. Excuse me. Next question. What do we got? B Right 33. Jimmy and Pierre, what would your Habs lineups be once all the injuries the Habs have are healthy? Who goes to Laval? Who are the odd men out? Does Bolduc go to Laval?
I've been really worried about Bolduc. I talked about it when they put him on the first line. I didn't like that. I thought it was and they've done more things right than wrong, but that's one where I didn't agree with them on. I think there's going to be slippage in his game. And I think Maxi Lapierre and I talked about it last night. Montreal is not the same market as St. Louis, especially for a Francophone kid. There's a lot of pressure, and people don't realize that. If they're out of the market, they don't understand it. And so I think the kid's confidence has kind of been hurt right now, and he's not playing the same way he played in St. Louis. And I would simplify everything for him. I'd put him deeper in the lineup and say, you go out there and hit people and you get back to playing, and eventually you'll make your way back onto the power play. But right now I wouldn't give him too much sugar. I'd make him go out there and earn it.
Yep. Get back to the nuts and bolts. All right. That's it for our questions here on a Thursday. Remember, tomorrow we're on campus, so we're pre-recorded. So we won't be doing a Q&A until Monday, but we appreciate all the questions this week. Great first week back in North America. Pierre flew right by. I feel like we were just in Ireland like yesterday. It's it's crazy. We're already heading to Friday.
That's
but good stuff.
I may have to go to Europe again next week.
I know. We just talked about that. I'll have no problem with that. Actually, hopefully we'll be going over in the summer as well.
Yeah.
But until then, until Monday, everyone out there, have a great weekend. Enjoy the hockey tonight and throughout the weekend. And thanks to Shane working the boards up in Montreal. And thanks to the San Jose Sharks and Ryan Warsofsky for making that happen.
Great job, Ryan. And I know they're watching. Great job, Ryan. And your parents should be real proud of you, and your brother David should be real proud of you. Great job.
Good Massachusetts kid. All right. This has been another edition of the Eye Test here on the Sick Podcast Network.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.